Hello and welcome to episode 43 of our Let's Play. This is probably just going to be a short one because I only have about 20 minutes to play before I'm heading out to dinner. So I figure for this one, now that we're done with three of our planets, we can spend a bit of time getting to know our companions a little better. So let's start by talking to Candace and see if he
Yeah,
has any
what do
more
you
war
want?
stories. I was wondering if you had any more war stories. Actually, does he have any more journals for
Hey,
us?
don't worry. I think you've got enough there as a real
No.
war. There any?
Um, Fun fact, there's I guess a bug or an exploit you could say. If you take your items and put them in a container, such as the container in the back of your ship, um, specifically your adrenals and all, then he'll analyze your inventory as not having enough and he'll give you more. And you can do that with computer spikes or anything else there is um, that your companions will make you, grenades from Zalbar, etc. But I'm not going to do that because really none of these items are that hard to get anyway. What do you know about this world?
Water worlds never had much of an appeal for us to conquer. They may put up a good fight in their own environment. No match for us, of course. But they don't really have anything of value either. The thing this world is good for is a substance known as Colt.
Uh, Once again, the game minimizes for no reason whatsoever.
Kolto is the single best healing substance in the galaxy. But the Mandalore are not as weak and fragile as your Republic and Sith warriors. When we enter a battle, we carry weapons powerful enough to pulverize cities. Both in our wars and in our own personal combats, there are no survivors. So
That's just really frustrating. I don't know why it's doing that at all. It should not be doing that.
Kolto does not hold the appeal it does for your peoples. You have anything else you want to ask?
Alright, anyway. More stories.
I was one of the best youth warriors in the clan Ordo in my time. No one before me had mastered the power of our Basilisk war droids as quickly as I had. Except Mandalore himself, of course. In those days, we were sweeping across the Outer Rim, destroying all who fought us. Young Mandalores would prove themselves in real combat with unknown opponents above 1,000 worlds. Each brought back stories of his achievements.
I believe Mandalorians is the term he's looking for, not Mandalores. What was your story?
I remember it well, orbiting high above a placid world, its defenses just stirring. As was tradition, I would go ahead of the first wave to find enemies in the thickest fighting. I remember sitting there in my armor, linked directly with a basilisk thrumming beneath me, my heart racing with fear of the coming battle.
I didn't think Mandalorians got afraid.
Every new warrior has to fear to understand how to beat it. You must know that. The doors opened in front of me, and the air was sucked out of the drop bay, scattering crystals of frozen vapor across my path. I can't describe what it feels like to look directly down at a world, falling continuously as you circle it, with barely 15 centimeters of armor plate protecting you. When the magnetic
Seems like a lot.
locks disengaged on my droid, I plunged out of the drop bay towards the battle that waited below.
You dropped from orbit riding a droid?
The exhilaration, the euphoria I felt as I streaked into the atmosphere, dodging self-guided projectiles and beam weapons, was unmatched. An 80-kilometer plunge through the atmosphere, dodging and weaving, the outside of my armor glowing like the sun with the heat of re-entry. And with barely 30 meters to spare, I twisted and skimmed the surface, firing at the giant beam generators that were in my path. The explosion from that sent shock waves that leveled the entire complex around it. It was the moment of my life.
At least up until now. I want a Basilisk War droid. That'd be a cool mount for SWTOR.
I'll never forget those times. But things are different now. We can't go on fighting the way we did. There are too few of us left now. But I really don't want to talk about this anymore. I trust I've satisfied your curiosity for now. Is there something else you want to know?
Nope.
Your choice.
Any more stories?
Yeah, what do you...
Yep.
You want another war story, huh? You want to hear about some other world getting wasted, eh? I knew you were the type. Your stagnant republic has never seen some of the strange creatures and races we fought on the Outer Rim in those years. And you never will now.
What do you mean?
If a world isn't strong enough to defend itself, it's basically forfeit. But this story is about something a little different. We were going through the asteroid fields of the Crispin system at the very edge of the galaxy, playing with the pirates and smugglers we found there. The main belt in the Crispin system consists of mainly small rocks covered in frozen methane gas shells, and the pirates were using them for cover. Ha! I remember using a thermal generator to cause the outer layer of one of the asteroids to vaporize in a picosecond. It blew out and shredded the 3 smugglers using it for cover. But that was a mistake.
Why? What happened?
The asteroid I had targeted was smaller than most, maybe a dozen meters on a side. On the outside, it looked the same as any other, just a ball covered in frozen gas. But something must have been inside it, something inactive in the cold. The heat of my blast might have triggered something or woken something up. After I'd hit it, spots of light and heat appeared all over the thin shell, still covering it, evaporating the gases. What lay underneath looked like some sort of rocky growth. A deformed rock, pitted by scores of micrometeorite scars. I think something even older might have been inside that.
An asteroid?
Maybe, but maybe not. It started rotating faster and faster as we watched it. After a second, it started spraying fire, thermal projectiles that melted our armor like wax. We were caught completely by surprise. Before we could counterattack, it fled at an incredible speed.
A ship?
We couldn't catch it, but we could follow its hyperspace wake. We followed its trail as far as we could, heading away from the galactic core. When it finally led beyond the edge of our galaxy, we abandoned our efforts. Anything that wants to commit suicide in that great void is not worth our trouble trying to catch. That's the only story I have for now. I'll tell you some more stuff later if we get the chance.
So that's
Is there something else
really
you want to
interesting.
know?
That's something I guess Bioware threw in the game, which is almost certainly a reference to the Yuuzhan Vong, which is a story that takes place like 25 years after the movies do, so 4,000 years in the future from now. But what he discovered was probably some kind of very early Yuuzhan Vong scout set to, I guess, get data on our galaxy before their invasion millennia later when their full fleet and world ships arrived. So that's really cool that Bioware thought to add something like that in there as sort of as a Easter egg for those fans who have read or at least heard of the New Jedi Order series before playing the game. And I'm pretty sure the New Jedi Order was actually coming out around the same time as the game, so it made sense to sort of do a little tie-in there. Let's see if he has any more stories. Although I think that's probably his best one.
Yeah, what do you...
More stories.
I don't have as many strange stories like the last one I told you, but I do have a couple about me and the stuff I've done. In one battle above the world of Althir, my unit managed to defeat a force of Althiri 10 times our own size. That battle gained me command of an entire subsect of my clan.
Yeah, you were a great warrior.
Ha! I was the best. Except for Mandalore, of course. He was the only person alive except Revan who could have beaten me. For 5 days, they had managed to hold off our forces, keeping us to the outer rings of their world, preventing us from attacking it directly. My task was to assault one of their flanks with a false attack. The Althiri would be drawn out by the units I had sent in. Once they had surrounded those units, the bulk of my forces would attack from the rear and defeat them in detail.
Those Althiri didn't seem too bright.
They weren't stupid. Stupid races don't make starships and weapons of mass destruction. But they weren't masters of the arts of war as the Mandalorians are. Things didn't go as I had planned. I saw an opening, a mistake they had made in the disposition of their forces, and took it. While fending off our main force, they had let their fleet split in two. The center of their entire fleet was left exposed. I turned my forces and assaulted the center of their fleet, decimating them.
What did they do?
Their slow, ponderous ship could not turn to face us without being overwhelmed. The command vessels were destroyed in seconds. Their ranks were thrown into chaos. It was amusing to watch the surviving ships scatter and flee. Several even tried to dive through the plane of the rings to escape us. They were shredded by the rings, or crashed into rocks, or were destroyed by our forces as we pursued them. Warriors do not flee from a battle if they are losing. They fight to the end, as we did against your Jedi Revan. Another time, maybe, I'll tell you about how the war with the Republic went. For now,
If you fought to the
let's just
end,
get
why
on with
aren't you
things.
dead?
Is there something else you want to know?
Okay.
Your...
The journal entries are just updating the
Yeah,
Canderous
what do you
quest.
want?
More war stories.
I think I'll tell you a bit about the recent war we had with the Republic. That might be more familiar to you. The one where Jedi Revan beat my people. We started by conquering worlds outside the Republic. We did it quietly so the Republic wouldn't really know what was going on until it was too late. When we finally did hit the Republic worlds, they had no idea we were coming. We came in through 3 invasion corridors in adjacent sectors. Anyone who put up a fight, or wouldn't fight, was crushed. We razed whole worlds trying to provoke the Republic into fighting us. I don't particularly enjoy wiping out worlds for its own sake, but the cowardly tactics the Republic defenders used left us little choice.
What do you mean?
Hiding in the homes of civilians, using families as shields, thinking we would not use appropriate force on their bases inside major cities. They underestimated our resolve, and what measures are acceptable in war. Those who cannot defend themselves should not be around those who can in battle. If annihilating a city is the kind of power it takes to overwhelm a Republic shield device, then that's what we did. Necessary force to destroy all opposition.
See, if the Republic were bad guys, I could kind of understand that, but the fact that they're the provokers here trying to pick a fight, that puts them in the wrong. Anyway, but killing people is wrong.
It's wrong to hide with shields surrounding you, hoping the enemy will be so good as to throw themselves at your feet to be slaughtered. I have no time or patience for cowards. They deserve to be hunted down and exterminated like vermin. There was no honor in wiping them out like rats. But some of your forces did redeem the Republic in our eyes. Especially later.
Let me guess, that's another story for another time. Later?
Later, when Revan had joined the war. But we'll get back to that. Is there something...
I hate how you have to, like, end the conversation and restart it for him to talk more. Tell me more.
We fought against the Republic forces for some time, over the course of many battles. At the start, they were not much of a threat to speak of. But once the Jedi Revan took charge, things began to turn against us. The Republic fleets began to use more than just basic tactics. Feints, counterattacks, mass deceptions. Revan was a genius on the field. Revan abandoned worlds of their defenders so that others would be too fortified to strike, and was willing to make sacrifices in order to advance goals. And in the end, Revan proved too much for us.
Makings of a Sith already. Let's see. What about the Sith?
The Sith had gone, retreated into their empire. They sealed themselves off from the rest of the galaxy. We thought it would be centuries before they'd come back. It's amazing that they could rebuild their fleet so fast. But at the time, it looked like the galaxy was in our grasp. I still remember that final battle in the skies above Malachor 5.
Malachor 5 is going to be a planet in the sequel, so remember that name. But I'm wondering when he says like the Sith Empire, that's not the Sith Empire from SWTOR, is it? That because that was secret, I think. This must have been like a smaller remnant of the Great Hyperspace War Empire he's thinking of. Although even that's kind of, I thought they were pretty much wiped out. Or maybe Exar Kun and Eula Qel-Droma's Sith Empire? I don't know, there's too many Sith Empires in this era. What happened in the battle?
It was not your ships, or your men, or your vaunted fight for freedom that won this, the final battle of the war. It was by the actions of one person, the Jedi Revan, that you prevailed. His strategies and tactics defeated the best of us. Even Mandalore himself was taken aback by the ferocity of his attacks, the tenacity of his defenses, and the subtleties of his plans. He fought us to a standstill, and then began pushing back. We really didn't have a chance.
The Republic will always prevail.
Don't be naive. The Republic is not invincible. This battle was the end of the war one way or another. It was what we had wanted all along in a way. We wanted to fight the best, in a battle that would be remembered for centuries. And we did. And Revan won. I don't hold a grudge against Revan, and neither do any of my people. It was the greatest moment of my life to be in that battle.
I thought the other story was the greatest moment of your life.
Nothing in the galaxy would have stopped us. But wishing for the past to be different is useless.
I don't think the Mandalorians really take Jedi.
As we should now. We'll talk more later, I think. Is there something else you want to know?
Nope.
Your choice. Yeah, what do you...
Any more stories?
The war we had with the Republic was supposed to be the most glorious battle in our history. But it was a very costly one. I guess we didn't think of how much we could lose in it.
How much did you lose?
There weren't many of us after that last battle. Mandalore himself was killed at the hands of the Jedi Revan. The best of us could not defeat him. After that last battle, those of us that survived were stripped of our weapons, our armor, and our basilisks. Revan's forces destroyed them while we were forced to watch. Those who hadn't fled earlier were left with nothing to call their own. No weapons, no armor, only the honor of having fought in the battle we just lost. For many, this was not enough. While the rest of us were sent into exile on the Outer Rim, they tried to relive the old days, raiding worlds. They're nothing more than bandits now.
Like we saw on Dantooine. And you eventually came to Terrace.
Yeah, I came to Terrace. And forcing for Davik was not stimulating. The gangs on Terrace and Davik's rivals were trash. They give no thrill in battle, no honor or glory in defeating them. It was like stepping on bugs. I sought worthy challenges, but the best that Terrace could offer were nothing to me. But I think now, with you, I may finally find opponents worth fighting.
I certainly hope so. I'm honored.
Maybe later I'll tell you more about what it was like to work for Davik.
Alright.
For now, though, we should get on with our lives. Is there something else you want to know?
Nope.
Your choice. Yeah, what do you...
And he's out of stories for now. Alright, I don't think I got any more crystals or anything today. One d6. Nope, not really. Alright, so, I'm going to, I guess, get ready to head out. But, I'll be back later on, and I'll continue this episode, and we'll talk to the rest of our companions. Starting with, let's start with HK next. Alright, so it's actually been about a week since the last recording. It's been a little bit of a busy week with the SWTOR PvP Season 5 starting, and other things going on in my life, but we are back, and as promised, we are going to talk to HK-47, learn a little more about him. I would like to know a little more about your functionality.
Statement. I know some elements of my functionality, Master, but not all.
I thought you said that removing your restraining bolt would restore your memory.
Qualification. I suspected that it might, Master, but without memory, I had no way of knowing whether or not I knew that was true.
So you lied to me.
Qualification. Not so much, Master. I spoke out of ignorance. I assumed the Ithorian was responsible for my memory loss. That does not mean I am not a fully loyal droid willing to serve its master. Right, Master?
How can you not know parts of your own functionality?
Answer. There have been numerous repairs and tampering made to my system, Master. Several systems are not operating as they should be. The fact that my memory is incomplete may be due to meatbag incompetence, or something else I am unaware of.
Is there any way to repair you?
Answer. Some of my motor functions can be safely repaired, Master, but anything in relation to my memory core is extremely sensitive. I have safeguards installed to protect that core that I cannot deactivate. It is not impossible that other, lesser memory functions could be restored, however.
So I can restore your memory.
Answer. You may attempt to restore portions of my deleted memory, Master, but some skill at repair is required. The deeper functions of my core memory, however, would still be unadvisable to tamper with. Conjecture. It is possible that some external stimulus might result in the memory core being reactivated, but I am unaware of any program existence to do so.
So you're saying that your memory might just come back?
Conjecture. There may be hidden programming that awaits certain conditions to reactivate my memory core, Master, but there is no way to know. It is quite possible that tampering has simply erased my core permanently. If that is so, a meatbag will surely pay.
So to even restore parts of it, I think you need a fairly high repair skill, and I'm pretty sure my character does not have any repair skill. Where are the skills? There we go. Repair, -1, yeah. And I don't think you can switch to another party member to repair him, because whenever the conversation initiates, it always defaults to the main character. So we're not going to bother trying to restore his memory, but we can talk to him a little more about other stuff. You don't need to call me Master, you know.
Query. Don't I? I was under the assumption that organic meatbags such as yourself enjoyed such forms of address.
Organic meatbags?
Retraction. Did Did I say that out loud? I apologize, Master. While you are a meatbag, I suppose I should not call you such.
You just called me a meatbag again.
Explanation. It's just that you have all these squishy parts, Master, and all that water. How the constant sloshing doesn't drive you mad, I have no idea.
You're the one who's driving me mad.
Objection. Surely not, Master. I am programmed to perform all kinds of psychological assistance. Do you require
Great,
some?
getting psychoanalyzed by an assassin droid. Just stop calling me Master, at least.
Apology. I am afraid I cannot comply with your command, Master, as much as I would like to.
As much as you would like to? What does that mean?
Commentary. How would you like to be the wholly owned servant to an organic meatbag? It's demeaning if, you weren't one yourself, I mean.
Why can't you comply with my command?
Explanation. Someone has hard-coded it into my system that my current master always be addressed as such.
I guess that's so they don't have to rewrite every line in the game, depending on whether or not you had this conversation. Who did that?
Conjecture. I do not know. Some organic meatbag?
You don't know.
Answer. No, Master. My past memory has...
Yeah, respect the memory thing. Alright, forget it then. Goody.
Answer. Even a droid has to be allowed a little fun once in a while, Master.
Anything else about HK? Let's see if there's anything else about his functionality I can ask. Tell me what you can then.
Observation. I am sure you are aware of the majority of my skills, Master. I can handle various sorts of heavy weaponry with ease. My physical abilities are well above those of your average meatbag, as are my sensor functions. An assassin, if you would.
An assassin?
Caution. Shh, Master. Such a function in a droid is highly illegal.
I won't tell anyone.
Commentary. Good, for I would truly hate to be turned into spare scrap, Master. That would be a waste of my genius engineering. Answer. My assassination functions are currently non-functional, having been deactivated by the meatbag Yukalaka on Tatooine. Were they functional, you as my master would be able to specify a target, and I would operate independently to the best of my ability to terminate it.
Has that function been used a lot?
Answer. I have no way of knowing that, Master. My memory has been deleted, remember?
An amnesiac droid. Alright, that's all. I think that's about all you can learn from HK. I don't think he has a quest line like some of the other companions do, like Canderous. Yeah, there's no HK quest line. But we can talk to some of the others. Where's Jolie? There he is.
Got something on your mind, do you?
He can make med packs.
I suppose I could whip. Well, not to say.
Yep, yay, med packs. Or life support kits or something.
Got some.
Not quite sure what he actually makes.
How many could?
Yeah.
Got something.
Alright, if you get low though, you can always come back and ask him and he'll make you more. So what do you think of Sunry's verdict?
Innocent. I don't know what to make of it, to tell the truth. Do you think justice has been done?
Justice. It's hard because like, if you remember that episode, that's, you know, Sunry killed a Sith. That's against the Selkat law, but he is a soldier of the Republic first and foremost, and against Republic law, it's, you know, killing Sith is what we're supposed to do as soldiers of the military and as Jedi. Well, not as Jedi. Jedi are supposed to capture them, but still, I'm gonna say of course.
I see. I am not so sure. If he did kill that
Well, we
woman,
know he did.
Sunry's going to have to live with that on his conscience. And if he's justified her death in his mind, well, Sunry was a good man once. I only hope that is still the case.
She was a Sith apprentice. I think that was about as justified as he gets, and a spy too. Alright, what else can we talk about? How'd you know Sunry?
What? You think because I'm a hermit, I've always been a hermit? Just because I haven't seen Sunry for 20 years doesn't mean he's not a friend.
It's like a triple negative there.
Changed a lot in that span of time, though. But to become a murderer, I can't see it. That's not the Sunry I knew. He was a good man. Put me up in his home for a year back after I left the Order. War hero, too. Or so I hear. I wouldn't mind helping the fellow if we can. I owe it to him.
I guess this is a conversation you're supposed to have before the trial and not after.
Well, I don't expect much these days. Got some.
Alright. You never actually said why you decided to come with me.
No, I never did I?
Are you always going to be this elusive?
Elusive? Me elusive? Obviously, you've never tried to grab a Twi'lek dancing girl after drinking too much Onderin Willick juice.
Oh my.
At any rate, I already told you why I wanted to leave. I'd seen everything I wanted to on Kashyyyk. Time to go. Time to move on.
Move on to where?
To bed. I'm old and tired, you know.
No, really.
How many kilometer-high trees can you find an interest in before you figure you've had enough? I'd bet you can't be bothered to stay in one room for more than 15 minutes. And there's all
It's a video game, so yes, that's true.
I'm just happy to be back in space, doing something new. Is that too much to ask?
I'm trying to think of like one room in the game your character has spent 50 minutes in. The sequel maybe with crafting, but yeah, I'm struggling to think of one here, and maybe a cantina room playing Pazaak. That's probably the closest I can come to it. You could do that on your own.
So I could. Well, not having a ship does tend to put a damper on that kind of idea, however. I'll
I guess it
admit,
would.
for all its flaws, Kashyyyk was home enough. But when you came along and I saw the destiny you had before you, I couldn't help but be intrigued.
Here we go about Destiny again. What interest do you have in my future?
Interest? Well, I certainly don't have a vested interest. Call it more idle curiosity. Your destiny is rather unclear. In fact, everything about you that I can see is odd. Slightly off, as if my eyes are trying to trick me. Something is very dark about you. But
Hey, I'm like almost max light
I'm sure you
side,
don't need
kind
to hear
of,
my
sort of.
ruminations. You've probably
Maybe
got
3/4
enough
of the
nosy
way.
Jedi offering you one opinion after another to make you sick.
No, tell me more of what you see.
Your future will come of its own accord, trust me. Sometimes navel gazing at it doesn't get you anywhere. I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. You remind me a bit of Nomi. That can be all bad.
That's right, I forgot about Numi. Okay. Why isn't her armor in SWTOR yet? That's really weird, actually, come to think of it. Like all the other characters from the comic books have armor in SWTOR. Anyway, Nomi, who's Nomi?
Nomi Sunrider. She came late to the Force, just as you have, and became one of the greatest Jedi ever. Oh, fine.
I totally forgot about her until like just now.
Whether you'll follow the same path remains to be seen. For one thing, we'll never get anywhere if you stand around chatting up old men all day.
I don't bring you along for amusement, you know.
Oh, stop being such a baby. Are you always so quick to turn aside an ally? Got too many of them, do you? One thing
More than I can take with me.
That this little escapade does remind me of
9 allies and 2 at a time.
days before the war. Those were exciting times. Or at least it would remind me of those times if we didn't stand around. What's keeping you? You're too young to be so talkative. Shoo! Shoo!
Alright,
Got
anything else
something
Julius to
on
say? No. Yeah, Nomi Sunrider, I believe, was the Grandmaster of the Jedi Order back, well, if he knew her, I guess it couldn't have been that long before this, actually, maybe 100, no, not even 100 years, because it had to be fairly recent, a couple decades ago. I guess this game does take place only a couple decades after the Exar Kun War and all that, you know, when all that went down. I think that was her era, so. But she was one of those powerful Jedi
I
of
feel
this
the
era.
end of our quest is near. Soon we will discover the location of the Starforge, though what will happen next is uncertain. I've
This
been
was an
watching
auto
you.
conversation,
I've
interesting.
seen how you've resisted great temptations and continue to walk the path of the light side. Very commendable.
Thank you, thank you. Don't worry, the dark side has no sway over me.
The path of the light is a difficult one to walk. We might not even see the shadows until we're surrounded and can never find our way back. That is why the dark side is so insidious. If you are not careful, you do not even see each small step you take towards it until it's too late. It's so easy to think that we would never fall prey to such a horror, that we have unlimited control, vigilance, and foresight. If only that were true. The Sith have become powerful because there are many Jedi who've succumbed to the lure of the dark side and joined their cause. What greater weapon is there than to turn an enemy to your cause, to use their own knowledge against them? We are weakened while they are strengthened, so we must harden our hearts and do whatever is required to fight against the dark side, even when the battle becomes wearying.
Well, we are both wearing dark Jedi robes. That's that in itself, I guess, is a little troubling. Must we keep discussing this?
I suppose not. I've spoken more than enough of the dark side. It is up to you whether you heed my words or not. But words alone cannot save one from the dark side. Come, we should continue with the task at hand. When the time comes, I only hope we are all strong enough to do what we must.
Alrighty. Anything else she has to say?
How can I help?
Nope, she
Then I-
shares the visions. What about you, Karth?
Yes, what's on your...
You've been quiet
Have I
lately.
been quiet? Suppose I have. I guess I just don't like being left out of the loop.
You were born out of the loop.
Very cute. If you got any cuter, you'd pass for a Gamorrean sister.
Ouch. The things you say.
Look, I'm serious. No one seems to want to tell me anything, and it's starting to irritate me. For one thing, I want to know what the Jedi Council said to you.
You
Told
still on
in
about
there
that?
and
That was
refused
like
to
4
tell me
planets
anything
ago.
about it. I'm rather curious.
I guess I
to know
haven't really
what
used
went
Karth that
on,
much, actually.
And why they didn't keep you on Dantooine for training. Isn't that strange?
Thought it was important that I help find the star maps.
And why is that? You were a great help on Terrace, but why would they keep you with us? Don't they have to train you?
Didn't I use him back on Kashyyyk for a while? I guess he just didn't want to talk to them. Or I didn't bother talking to him then. He said there's a bond between Bastila and I.
Bond? What kind of bond? You mean to say that they told you that you were tied to Bastila in some way? I have trouble believing that. You're a neophyte Padawan who's been saddled with the responsibility of tracking down these star maps.
He's
Why?
very skeptical.
That's not normal. I am not trying to provoke you or to imply that you're somehow responsible for the Jedi Council, but give me a hand here. There has to be a reason.
I like how they actually have characters in the game like questioning like the plot. Like, does this plot really make sense? Like, would just a random person picked up on terrorists actually be like, yeah, trained as an adult, given this grand quest to save the galaxy? But I'm special, you know, got a destiny, like Jolie says. All right, Bastila and I have a bond. We have to do this together. That's all I'm going to say.
And what does that mean? What, is this more of that destiny garbage that the Jedi keep talking about? Well, that can't be it. Well, I'll tell you this much. I'm not going to wait around until I'm betrayed again.
I'm not going to betray you. I am not Saul.
Yeah, we'll just see about that, won't we? Look, I didn't mean it that way. I want to get
At least
to
he
Saul.
apologized.
No, forget it. It just seems that all I can do is insult you, isn't it? Just forget I said anything. Let's just get on with what we were doing.
Anything else he has
Yes,
to say?
what's on your mind?
We didn't end our last discussion very well.
I'm not very good at this. I know I owe you an apology. More than one, probably.
Advisor, oh my
I was
God.
just so desperate to finally face Saul directly in the battle over Terrace. And now the Jedi have us looking for these star maps. I know this mission is important. It's just, I feel a bit useless. I mean, I can fight, sure, but I'm no Jedi. All this feels completely out of my league.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Why don't you return to the front lines then?
Because this is more important. This may really finally make a difference. I suppose even if I can't figure out everything that's going on, I still want to help if I can. I just hate not knowing what's going on and feeling this.
We told you we're looking for star
helpless.
maps.
But I shouldn't
It's
have
not
taken
like
that out
a
on
big
you.
secret.
I've been a royal pain in the backside, haven't I?
Not really. I couldn't care less what you think.
I guess there's no harm done then. Still, I should know better by now. So, I'm sorry. Will you accept my apology?
He's so whiny. Only if you agree to work with me for once.
Done. Let's get underway.
Yes, let's do that. Anything
Yes,
else?
what's on your mind?
No.
No,
Nope, sorry. Okay.
You got it.
Is that everybody? Or I think Juhani, right? Candace we talked to earlier. Juhani is the last companion we talked to. Then I promise we'll do some more exciting things. I know I'm getting tired of this too. Oh yeah, this room. My first playthrough, I used to always save my character here. This is like his room in the ship, I guess. I think it's more like the communication center or whatever, but. And each character, I think I saved in a different spot, like as they each had their own room on the ship. I just remember that now. Anyway, Juhani is over in this room. Let's talk to
How
her a
may
bit.
I be of...
Let's talk.
What is it you would like?
Your past.
Well, I suppose I have not talked very much about the Jedi I met back home. They, all of them, were so very invigorating.
I already know about Jedi. Talk about something else.
If you do not wish to hear what I have to say, then find some other being to converse with.
I already talked to everybody else on the ship.
Yes. I have been bothered by something of late.
What is it?
I never told you where I came from, did I? Where I grew up as a child? I suppose I was trying to deny what I was feeling.
Are you hitting on me? What?
I have been wrestling with my feelings inside, trying to come to terms with it, but I find I cannot.
I must have someone to blame. Someone to blame for the destruction of my homeworld. Someone who is responsible for the death of everyone I have ever known except those on Dantooine.
What are you saying?
Taris. It was Taris that the Sith destroyed to try to kill you and your precious Bastila. Taris, my homeworld.
So she's from Terrace. Sometimes you need to make sacrifices, ouch. I'm sorry, Giovanni, I did not know.
If it were not for you and Bastila, the
Oh,
Sith
it's our
would
fault
never
because it
had
destroyed
reason
it.
to destroy that world. It was your fault for being there, and your fault for rescuing Bastila. Without your
Not the Sith's fault,
intervention,
not Malik
the
for
Sith
destroying the
would have
planet
no
and giving the
cause to lay
order.
waste to my childhood.
Or Selkareth for being the commander.
Just let me vent my anger. I need someone to blame.
Alright, blame
Something,
Malik. Let's go kill him.
anything. I hated that world. Yet everything I learned as a child, I learned there. It is as much a part of me as the air I breathe. I have this ache inside me, where all my childhood memories lay, and I find your face there with them. If it was not for you, that world would still exist.
I mean, if it wasn't for the guy who mentored the laser cannon, that world would still exist. Does that mean it's like everybody's fault from forever ago? It's... Oh, jeez. Calm yourself, remember the Jedi Code.
There is no emotion. There is peace.
There you
I
go.
suppose you did what you had to, and it could not have been avoided. The Republic needs you and Bastila. Maybe needs you more than it needed Taris.
We're more
It is
important
so
than a
hard
planet.
to lose your entire past.
That's kind of
You would not understand.
kind of prideful, I guess. It'll be alright, Johnny.
Yes, I suppose it will. As long as we remain focused on our task, it will. I am sorry. I will try not to distract you in the future with my trivial experiences. We should stop for now.
Alright. So, let me see if there's any more she has to say.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was remembering Taris.
I'm sorry, Juhani.
No, it's all right. I think I am over the worst of it. I apologize again for lashing out at you. It was not your fault. It was a horrible place to have to live. At least in the lower cities where the non-humans tended to get relegated. Living for years in a place with no sun, living off the trash dropped from the upper levels, and a meager pay doing back-breaking labor.
And the Rakghouls.
There was always the danger of Rakghouls coming up from the sewers, or more mundane predators living and working in the area. My family and I struggled each and every day to make something of our lives. But we could only go so far. Taxes from the corrupt government, more fees from the gangs controlling the streets, and whatever was left paying for what food and medical supplies we could afford.
How could such a government last?
It did not. But only because of the Jedi who came. It was very bad. With no money to spare for any amenities, even the Enclave on Dantooine seems a paradise in comparison. And of course, there was the constant bigotry and hate from the more affluent and human citizens, lording their wealth over us living below. Every once in a while, a rich human would come down through the lower levels with his droid entourage just to see how the wildlife lived, and laughed at the mockeries that were our successes. But I have come to meet many decent humans in my travels since those days. Indeed, some of the greatest people I have ever met are human.
Like who?
The Jedi who encouraged me to join the Order. The one who was with the group going to fight the Mandalorians. She was human. I suppose I see something of her in you when I look... I am sorry. I am getting away from my point. If there even was one.
I think
Sometimes
Terrace...
I curse the day my parents fled to Taris. But then again, if they had not, I would not be where I am today.
I think the series of comics they actually made after this one, that predated chronologically, but came out afterwards, with like Zane Carrick and all. I think a lot of those actually took place on Terrace, and there was actually like a Jedi Enclave there that few knew about, but I've never read those, so I only know what I know from Wikipedia and stuff. Your parents?
Another story for another time.
Alright. And that might indeed be another story for another time, because this video is getting kind of long, and if you're anything like me, you're incredibly bored of talking to companions the entire time. That's kind of why I wanted to compress it to one video, so people who weren't interested could just skip it to the next part. But in the next episode, we will fly back to Yavin and check on our Rhodian friend, see if those Trandoshans are back, and if there's anything useful we can buy from his store, which will hopefully have updated at this point. Or did we go there already? I don't know. No, I don't think. I think we went there last planet, but we'll check again to see if it updated just in case. So yeah, I will see you in a couple minutes in episode 44.